We are going to start our study session. President Hudson and Councilor Hogan, but I'm going to give it to Councilor Hogan.
Thank you, President Hudson. Local law 8A is ready.
Thank you. I have resolutions for deeds. Brian, do I have any? Not yet, so I'll put it ready with a question mark. Councilor Caldwell.
Thank you, Madam President. Blessings to all. Commissioner Williams, you ready? I have items 10 and 11.
Tony Williams, Commissioner of Parks. Good afternoon, Madam President, councilors. Parks Department has agenda items number 10 and number 11. Number 10 is an approval for funds for ongoing programming through Onondaga County Youth Bureau of Children and Family Services. These funds will be partially replenished in the expenditures of the Department of Parks and Recreation and Youth Programming, and these funds will be used to expand after-school recreation programming in the amount not to exceed $20,000. This is a term contract for 1 year.
So this is going to allow our youth at the different community centers to do some field trips, some programs, some different things that they're unable to do, right?
Absolutely.
It's great.
And I just noticed that the date is incorrect on here, so I'll correct that and send an updated letter through. It says 2023. It should read 2024. I'll correct that and send it over.
Thank you. Sounds great.
No problem.
Any questions, you guys? This is something that's going to continue to bless our babies. Item number 11.
Item number 11, we're seeking a waiver for the RFP process for Sekou Cook Studios for research, engagement, and design architectural services to work with the I didn't write it like this. I'm sorry. I'm reading it for the first time. This is for the Kirk Park Minority Veterans Memorial. Councilors, as you know, the Kirk Park Minority Veterans Memorial Project is an ARPA project that was allocated $250,000. Since that allocation, and through the diligent efforts of the Dunbar Post 1642, the County of Onondaga Ledge has also earmarked $100,000 for this project.
What's the total cost, Commissioner?
The total cost of this is $20,000, Madam
Oh,
President.
okay, I just heard 250 and 150, but we broke it back down to 20, okay.
Well, I was just giving you the background and also an update on the funding. The Parks Department is seeking this waiver to work directly with Sekou Studios due to the architectural firm's familiarity with the Southside community and also the familiarity with the immediate constituents and community stakeholders around the Kirk Park footprint.
I am
Build
excited.
the memorial is actually 350,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Or it might be, so we're still are looking
We're still
for more support.
We're still actively
Yes.
looking for more support.
Yes.
Right now, we're engaging into the design second wave of engagement and research. We're hoping this project will get up to 500,000. That's what the design. We're going to design at 500,000. And that's where we're at right now.
This is going to be amazing for the community. I was a part of from day one when the Dunbar Post and the former commissioner, Julie, came to me. And I think this is phenomenal and well-deserved. So I'm looking forward to this to come and just be a part of our community with everything else that's going to be going on at Kirk Park.
Absolutely.
Do you mind putting the total cost of the project in the letter that, now, is this the one that the opera, you're gonna use opera funds for, you're gonna change it to opera funds?
Absolutely.
Do you mind putting, the funding that you have received already for this and the estimated project cost?
Of course. No problem. I'll get that right over to you.
Commissioner, in the letter of agreement, there's a Charlotte, North Carolina address.
Absolutely.
The design firm's website has an address on Concord Place.
Yep.
Can you confirm that it is in fact a local architectural firm, or can you give a little explanation on that?
No problem. This architectural firm has since relocated, but up until 2 years ago, the architectural firm was based out of here in Syracuse, and they currently have 3 active projects here in the Syracuse area. I can give you more background on the architectural firm if you would like.
I went through some of their materials. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Madam President, let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Majuk.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item 12 to 15. They are all fire department items.
Good afternoon, Council. Rick Kisselstein, Executive Deputy with the Fire Department. All four of these items are related to an accident that happened while our crews were on scene for a different accident. A driver plowed into the back of our smaller unit, which squished it up into our engine, and both need to be repaired extensively. This is for bonds for the replacement and to have the repairs done.
Was the accident our fault?
It was not.
It was not?
Our vehicles were parked on the side of the road with lights on so that they were on the scene of an accident where a car ran into a building. While they were there, another car came and hit our vehicles.
Okay, so I guess with this individual car insurance, I guess are we doing anything with
Yeah,
their
the
insurance?
law department is currently speaking with their insurance company to get as much as we can from them.
Chief, how far out would these vehicles be ready for us?
Pardon?
How far out would these vehicles be ready for us, the new ones that are coming in?
I'm sorry.
How much time would it take for us to obtain the vehicles that are going to be replaced?
To get them back?
Yes.
Repaired. The Tahoe will probably be, a 4-month, maybe 6-month thing. The engine will probably take, 9 months to a year.
And that would put us down to how many active engines for the city? Do you know off the top of your head?
That's one of our training engines that we're using in a scrape. I think we have 13 engines that we could put on the front line.
Other questions? That what we do?
That will do it for you. I just, something came to my head, and I'm going to take presidential privilege. I'm going to ask Commissioner Williams to come back.
Thank you.
Okay, so this company, is this a minority company?
It is.
And you said they were here up until what, maybe a couple, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Sekou Cook, the owner of the firm, he was a former Syracuse University architectural professor. Few familiar with projects with Sekou Cook Studio would be a 15th Ward exhibit that they had at the Everson, which later was adopted into the MoMA. They're currently working on a project half a mile away from Kirk Park in collaboration with, I'm gonna mess up the name, Apocalyptic. I'm sorry. Apostolic.
Apostolic.
Sorry about that. Church, which is on Cortland.
That's like completely two different things.
Pastor Jones will get you.
Okay,
All right.
I only asked
He
this
did
question
say
for
so,
this,
that's
right? Because I'm a big proponent. I don't like waivers. I don't like not competitive bid. I get that. But I just want to piggyback because I think everything that we see in this city, even with an RFP, a lot of these companies, Councilor Williams, aren't from the city of Syracuse. We RFP'd to Arizona and different places. So I just want to kind of touch on that.
I would also like to add, Madam President, if I could, that this architectural firm also built the food co-op on Salina Street. During all three projects that I just mentioned, including the ongoing project currently on Cortland Ave, I can't see any architectural firm that's a minority or architectural firm in general that has deeper connection with the Southside community at this moment.
I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. Okay.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank
think
you.
Thank you.
I think the important part is obviously they will work with the veterans that have been pushing
Right.
this, correct?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. The Dunbar Post 1642 actually elevated working with Sekou Cook Studios, and per my evaluation, I identified that this would be a suitable firm due to their connection with the Southside community. I think for this project, the engagement portion is the most important, and we're looking to make sure that we get the community buy-in, as well as the committee and the buy-in from the Dunbar Post.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Now, it says here, total cost not to exceed $20,000. Is this something we have in writing? Is it possible during this project we might go over, or is this in regard to any estimates you've had?
Counselor, that, this is in regards to the proposal that
Okay.
was attached in the appendix of this agenda item.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
Counselor Caldwell for Counselor Paniagua.
Thank you, Madam President, and blessings again to all. I have item number 16 for Ms. Paniagua. I can't even talk today.
Good afternoon, Council. This item is to extend IMED for a year contract. We are currently RFPing, but with BPAS, we are kind of running up against an issue meeting our contractual obligation to end a contract with IMED within 60 days. So we're asking for a one-year extension. Should IMED not win the bid, we would end that contract. We've been very explicit with IMED. We would end that contract 7/1 when we have enough information to choose the correct vendor via the RFP. So it's just kind of a protection, and so we don't have a lapse in vision coverage.
Any questions, counselors?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor Gathers.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items 17 through 27, and you're going to take items 17 through 21.
Good afternoon, councilors. Ken Towsley, Street Lighting Manager.
Long time no see, Ken.
My light man.
Been a while. Item 17 is to amend the current ordinance for who we purchase certain equipment for our lighting. We have changed from Quantella to Simcon, which are the lighting sensors that we use for both the decorative and the Cobra headlights. And we added Irby Electrical Utilities, who deal with the supplies to hook up directly to National Grid's power. Instead of going through a third party, it'll save us money. We buy directly from them, and our electricians are able to directly connect, so we don't have to get grid involved and pay an additional fee.
That's a great thing.
Can I say that some of the constituents are very, very pleased with the lights, solar lights that have been put in the park. So thank you very much on that.
But that's my next point. So 18 and 19 are for lighting upgrades in parks. I'm asking for $625,000. One of them is to expand beyond the solar lighting that we have installed in the original 7. Councilor Caldwell is correct. I've received a lot of great compliments in the lighting that we have installed. I think it's done a fantastic job in these parks, working with Commissioner Williams in the Parks Department. We're working on finding additional parks to add. We may add 1 or 2 in the existing ones we've already put in based on feedback. Working on Onondaga Park, certain areas where there are no streetlights whatsoever. Working with this Fon Rock Lighting, they will engineer areas where we can put these lights to ensure the right solar capacity and get them on. We're also looking to upgrade other parks that have the old high-pressure sodium lights, change them to LED. I think that's the goal in the city, is to get all our lights to LED. There's about a half a dozen lights in Clinton Square that need to be changed over that were not part of the original purchase. Franklin Square, the pedestal lights that are throughout, those need to be upgraded to LED. And then other parks throughout the city where we run into where either they weren't changed over, they are the old lights, and we will all upgrade those to LED as well.
Just in the park on Franklin Square, right?
It will be the pedestals leading into, so if you come down Franklin, you'll see about a dozen, half a dozen entranceways that have pedestal lights on each one. We'll change those out from the old high-pressure sodiums, the old lights that look like crap, to
So
LED.
let me ask you a question. So we're responsible for them now? Because I knew at some point they were the responsibility of those developers through there.
So I've counted 8 that we're responsible for, 8 that fall under city's responsibility, even though they weren't purchased from Grid. 4 fall outside of the city's realm. I'm looking at it as changing all 12 at once. While we're there at once, we'll
Are we
change them all.
charging back?
It's part of that special lighting assessment that we do.
Was McKinley Park a part of that list? I don't. for
The
parks?
original, no, it wasn't, Counselor. So that is one that we've talked about. We do have lights in McKinley now. So as we go forward, as I mentioned last year when we went with this, we wanted to see what the feedback would have been. Seeing that as positive as it is, where we have existing light, now do we want to add a few other lights in that area to take away some of that darkness? And those are things that we'll do going forward.
Okay, so can we make sure McKinley Park gets on it? Thank you.
I will.
And before you go, Ken, I mean, I want to commend Councilor Caldwell for pushing this too, but we also had a conversation regarding that there's a possibility of expanding this a little for some of our streets that aren't really covered with light too.
Correct. So that's the discussions I'm having with Fon Rock. One example I'll share with you is, this has nothing to do with any of what I'm requesting, but over on North Franklin in front of Dinosaur, there is one aluminum pole that we bought from Grid. There is no power going to that light. We have spent countless hours between us, our contractor, city electricians, including National Grid, no idea. Short of digging up that street and trying to find it, I decided we're going to install a solar light on a pedestal there, which will cover the streetlights. We're going to add 2 on Franklin. So that's going to be something that, once those are up, I'll ask everybody to take a look at it, see what their thoughts are. So those are things that we could possibly do in the future, adding solar lights in areas. One thing I won't do is add solar lights where there's existing wood poles. We're not adding more poles along a residential district. I'm not going to do that. It'll look horrible. So it's areas that we can remove power poles that we pay Grid now, put the solar up, or those areas, as Councilor Hogan mentioned, that don't have any streetlights that we can add due to lack of getting power to them, the cost of digging if we had to dig. All those factors will come into play to add them. The area that Councilor Hogan's mentioning is off of Arlington, up in Onondaga Park. Councilor Majuk knows it as well. There's no possible way to get power over to an area where we could put wood poles with Cobra heads. So I'm working with the engineers with Fon Rock to see what they can do to install 3 or 4 solar lights along that stretch to give that Onondaga Park Drive some light, because there's none existing now.
So do we have a list, Ken? So I know, driving around the community and lights, like, so some parts of the city is like blowing up. It's like, whoo, right? And then in some parts of the neighborhoods and community, it's so dark, right? And we know it gets darker here, right, in the city. Do we have a list of when the lights were changed? What has the new ones? What doesn't? What neighborhood, can go for more lights? Do we have like a list?
I do have an existing list of the parks that were changed over.
No, not parks, just like in the city.
I have all 17,000. I can give you when they were changed over, anywhere from August of 2019 to about June of 2020. So that's when they were all changed over. There are areas that were missed by the contractor. No discussion for another day. And we are changing those as we find them and upgrading them as well. So anything that you see that you believe is too dark, shoot me an email. Give me a call. I'll take a look at it. I've got a meter. I read the lighting aspect of it, see how much it is. Does it meet the regulations? Partly it is your eyesight too, is what am I looking at? Am I looking at something that, not just me personally, but what am I looking at? Is it dark? I've had a couple areas where I've sent submittals into National Grid for added lights. I haven't heard back from them, but I can look at there and say, yeah, this is too dark, especially main intersections is what I definitely look
Get
at.
the pole number too, right, Kenny? If the light is out.
The light's out, pole number would
Get
help.
that pole number.
Well, we got to improve those poll numbers so people can't see them.
Yeah, people they don't even know. To
Address, for me, I would prefer the pole number, don't get me wrong.
No.
Address is fine. I'll get out there and take a look and I'll know which one it is.
Councilor Majuk.
So Ken, is what we talked about part of this?
That would be part of parks because those lights for the solar will go in Onondaga Park's property. It'll act as a street light, but it's going to be on Onondaga Park's property. Yes, so that Arlington area is going to be part of this.
So another one, I was driving on I-81 going south, and I saw there's too many lights that were off. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Who takes care of that?
We do.
We do.
So I don't want to get into the weeds with it. I'll just share with what we did last November. We brought in CP Ward for traffic control. We addressed all the lighting on 690 east and west from the Interstate 81 off-ramp all the way to Thompson Road, both east and west, including the off-ramps. When we walked out of there 8 days later, every light was working. One light did not get installed due to the construction aspect of it. We couldn't put a new base in. That's an area that's going to be altered with the 81 project. So those all worked. Next phase is 690 going west and east from the West Street going that way to address those. The 81 parts, Counselor, will be last based on where is New York State going to go with 81. So I don't want to spend too much time. I know some of them should be addressed. Those that we have access to off the highway, we will try to address. But the full gamut of it won't be done until we know where 81 stands and what's going to be eliminated versus what's going to stay.
I thought you were shutting down early for
Yeah, I
I-81.
picked up on it. It's worse now than it was a few weeks ago. So it looks like we're losing fusing down there. So now we've got to get into the weeds really, and find the handholds, and then hopefully those we can replace fuses and get some of them back up and running.
I'm going to mention that to the council that this is in the new budget year.
So that covers the parks. 20 and 21 is the basic streetlights. Those are outside. Those are decorative fixtures that are located in residentials, the Cobra heads, the aluminums. So far this year, in the last 31 days, we've had 4 accidents where decorative poles have been hit and totally destroyed. We've got to replace those. All 4 of those need to be replaced from the concrete base up. Those are accidents. We do have DR reports similar to what Chief Kisselstein said. The law department will work with the insurance companies. We'll get reimbursed, and we've got to replace those. But it also covers costs such as replacing arms on wood poles, any of the material, any fixtures that go bad. We've been real good with the fixtures withstanding the elements we have in central New York, so that's what that covers. Any questions?
I think you answered, but I just want to be sure. This is what happens when we don't see you for a long time. 2019-20, you said when you replaced the lights in the community, right? So those are the newer lights that are like the LED,
Yes.
supposed to be the more brighter. Okay, that's what happened.
Yep, those are all the LED lights.
Okay.
Yeah, quick, so if you replace a light and there's vegetation that has grown around that light, who get to cut that down? Is it you or Steve Harris?
I let Steve Harris know.
Or Steve Harris?
Yep.
Because I think there was a beautiful light you guys replaced, and the branches are like basically covering.
As long as I know, I'll shoot it in see-click fix for Steve to address. And he has followed through on the ones I've requested, so we do get it taken care of.
Okay.
The biggest thing I look at is, especially the Cobra heads, when that tree overgrowth covers the light, it also covers that line of sight, so now the sensor doesn't work.
Thank you. Any other questions for 17 to 21? Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. All right, for 22 and 23?
22 and 23 will fall under street lighting as well. This is for a piece of equipment called the derrick digger. It's similar to a crane and a digger. National Grid has them. Our contractor, O'Connell, has them. We should purchase one for what it gives us the ability to do. As I mentioned, setting these solar poles, setting wood poles where needed, because we still own a lot of wood poles in the city. What it does, it has an auger, digs the hole, has a claw, sets the pole, levels the pole. It's just a great tool to have that the city should have. With the amount of lights that we own, we should own that.
And I started that one to question you because you said you're not doing no more wood poles. I was like, so why you getting a pole digger?
We still have areas that we own the wood pole. Onondaga Creek Boulevard is a great example. Right across from the Southside Charter School, that whole run are city-owned wood poles. So if there's an accident, National Grid will not put that pole in. We have to put that pole in. And that's scattered throughout the city, like 320 total wood poles scattered throughout the city.
In the city.
Yep. But it's also a tool, Counselor, to have if we wanted to add something ourselves, be it a police camera, be it any other type of sensors, an additional light, where we could set the pole, we would own it, and all we'd have to do is request National Grid to do a power hookup.
And the background information says that we currently contract this service out.
Correct.
What do we pay annually?
$900,000 a year to our maintenance contract.
I'm confused.
That covers.
Right.
That covers what has been as daily repairs of any outages we have, any replacements that we have. We've used O'Connell to set these solar lights with their equipment. We don't have that equipment. We have an infrastructure problem with what we purchased with National Grid. And it is what it is. It's old. But we have a lot of outages that occur daily. And we send a list out, I send a list out weekly to our contractor and our city electricians. In between the two teams, they go out and take care of what we have for outages.
There's no specific budgeted item cost out for that, with that.
But that specific
900.
work?
Yeah.
No, Counselor. It's, the 900,000 covers a wide range of what the contractor can do for us.
That value will not be reduced if we spend the 400 on the utility.
I want that 900,000 to be reduced once, and I'm foreseeing it within the next 12 to 18 months where we will be able to reduce it. One, the proper equipment that we have, the proper bodies that we have to do this work. The more work we can give our city electricians, the less work we'll send out to the contractors. As we keep fixing the problems that we have, back when I started in August of 2020, we had a list this long. Now we're down to a quarter of that. So that's the object of what we're doing going forward.
Commissioner, will there be a time when wooden poles are going to be obsolete? They're going to.
Not in my lifetime, Council.
No, not. Okay.
Unless National Grid decides to do everything underground, they'll always be there.
They will be.
Yeah, because they still own about 12,000 of the wood poles throughout the city.
Okay. This was talking about the action we had where they.
Yep, and they put if it's theirs, they replace it and everything, and then we just go back and then change the light over onto the new pole.
Okay, thank you.
Can, as the process of doing work on poles improve between Spectrum, the city, Verizon, has that improved at all? Because I know it used to take forever to get anything done.
It is still difficult to deal with. So what we deal with, I'm assuming you're speaking of the double wood poles.
Correct.
When a wood pole set, National Grid is supposed to set up in their software, it's called engines. And basically what it is, it goes to each of the contractors, be it the city, Spectrum, Verizon, any of the fiber companies, et cetera, and everybody goes in order. Once you do what you need to do, you close that out and it goes to the next guy. I can say with certainty, we are by far the best out of all those by getting our stuff done and then sending it to everybody else. Now
Met with them?
Say again?
Have we met to talk about this?
I've talked many times with National Grid, Chris Gorman, about this problem, yes.
Good luck, Hobie.
I know, I was going to say that to you, because dealing with National Grid is, you need a lot of luck.
Absolutely. Okay, next.
All right.
All set?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Item number 24.
I did have a question.
Ken, one more.
I'm sorry.
Y'all speak too slow. You gotta jump in here.
I wanted to know, as far as like, because I don't know what this looks like.
What,
The machine.
okay.
So is it like a standard as far as training someone, or will we have to get a simulation device to?
Similar to any large equipment, you'll need a Class B commercial driver's license.
Okay.
But the training will be supplied by the company who's building it. And I've also reached out to O'Connell. They will give us additional training free of charge for our guys to use this appropriately.
Any more questions?
That's it. Thank you. Commissioner OJ.
That's a difficult act to follow. Apologies in advance. Good afternoon, councilors. Matt OJ, Commissioner of Assessment. Just one item today. We're requesting council authorization to enter into a license agreement. This would be for our garage, the Harrison Street Garage, 601 South Warren Street. This would enable general contractor Huber Brewer, who is GCing the project across the street, the Tech Garden vertical expansion, to come in and put a construction progress camera onto our garage facade.
Want to just give a brief explanation as to why it's needed? Just
Sure. So they would just be mechanically, I think, bolting into the facade of the garage just to put up a wireless camera. No cost to us. No. Yeah. So that's an important one.
They'll
Yeah.
have access to the camera though.
They would have a feed, public access. I think they do want to disseminate progress on the new project, as do we. City-owned facility across the street and a partner in the expansion project.
We will have access to the camera like the police department, they would have access.
Oh, no. This is simply to monitor construction project progress across the street, a communications tool. They would take it down when the construction project is finished, restore the facade to its original condition.
I know, but we still should have access to it. So it's gonna be live, like live feed?
Exactly, yeah, live feed, so any of us could see it. Police, I think, as needed, could use it if they would find that useful. But I think it's just a fixed position that would monitor the construction site itself.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Number 25. 25 and 26.
Good afternoon, councilors. Mary Robison, city engineer. I have items 25 through 27, which all relate to the DPW Annex Building Improvement Project. Item 25 is the seeker, which is a type 2 action since we're working on repairs within an existing building. Item 26 is the bond ordinance for the construction phase, which is a total cost not to exceed $9.1 million. And item 27 is a project authorization. We originally got ARPA funding in the amount of not to exceed $600,000 for the design phase. And then the remainder of the project is estimated to cost another $9.1 million for a total project cost of $9.7 million.
This cost recently increased, correct?
Yeah, originally when the study was done, they had an estimate of $8 million. There's been inflation added in, and during design, we found some additional repairs, or the conditions were different than we had originally assumed during the study. So we have this cost estimated at $9.1 million. And it is Rich Travesti and I believe Mike Canizero contacted New York State DOT, and the $9.1 million is fully reimbursable with CHIP funds from New York State DOT.
Oh, that's great.
That was the main part. You supposed to
I'm
say.
sorry, I should have led with that.
You should have led with
Start
that.
out first.
Thank you.
How soon can this kick off after we vote on this?
We are going to advertise it after you guys approve it in February.
Right?
So construction would start in the spring.
How is that going to affect the workers?
We're working with Rich Tavesti. He can come up and tell you how they're coordinating.
Hi, Rich DeVesti, Fleet Director. Yeah, they're going to do half or a third at a time. So you guys approved our storage building, so we're going to be able to park some there, park some equipment. We park about 65 pieces of equipment inside now. So we're planning 30 at a time outside. So like sanitation and plows will always be inside because they can go on either side. And then the other equipment will park in the yard or at our storage facility. So we have room. We're making room.
Okay, so what's the time frame for this?
I believe we will get it done this construction season, but I need to check the contract documents to verify that, so I can let you know.
All right, Madam President, I think I'm all set if there's no further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Hogan?
Thank you, President Hudson. I have a resolution here. I don't know if anybody's going to speak to it, but it's, we're asking our federal representatives to extend the funding for the connectivity program. So,
All right.
Yes, yes.
Councilor Williams?
Madam President, just one item today, item 29.
So we'll move to executive session on Monday. We'll move to executive session on Monday. Thank you.
Move to executive session on Monday. Great.
All righty, and with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Madam President,
Okay,
could we return to Councilman Jones, items 12 through 15, please,
sure.
regarding the fire vehicles?
I think the fire department
Thank
is
you.
gone.
No, he's right there.
Okay. Oh, there he is.
Chief, just quickly, when we add up the two different vehicles, we get about $110,000 estimate for repair, but the request is for $250,000 bond. Could you just work me through that?
Well, we like to aim a little high for that because oftentimes, especially with big apparatus like the fire engine, once they take pieces off, they find more damage to drivetrains, to struts, to things like that. So we don't really know the final number until they start to do the repair. And then they can see all the other parts have been affected.
And then if you don't use it all, we get it back.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All righty, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned.